given Eskom, and I'm not an expert in electricity, but I've been listening to this more and more, particularly from an eye of the tax committee, and today, you know, where everybody seemed to have the same view about, you know, there was going to be no light at the end of this tunnel for quite some considerable time. And some economists tell me that we could be growing at 3% if we simply had an efficient electricity system, all other factors being the same. And if, in fact, that's true, you can understand what the effect of this is. It's far more monumental than I think we really understand. And so the difficulty is, if you're going to assume the conditions that we are, when we come around next year, and the budget is presented, and presumably thereafter I get invited back here or somewhere else to talk to you about what's going on, the answer would be that we'd be in a more parlous situation. Because where's the additional income going to come from? I've already explained to you how difficult it is to raise income tax overall. Clearly, we may have to raise VAT, but maybe that's for a particular designated project. It is true that there's some play in relation to base erosion and profit shifting. And I think there must be some with regard to individuals. And the one thing I'm curious about, and I have no answer to, is a little while back, you may recall that there was a whistleblower who blew the whistle on HSBC in Switzerland, and who disclosed that there was something like $23 billion of income, of money, in HSBC, which had been, as it were, directed by HSBC into locations where no tax would be paid by the owners of those accounts in the jurisdictions where they were resident. It turned out that roughly 23 billion rand, as opposed to dollars of that, is South African connected. And there's a list being published in the newspapers. And I've read it with some interest. And I keep on pressing our revenue department, what are you doing about it? And they tell me they're investigating. What I find curious is why our revenue people say they're doing that. Other revenue departments are actually very much more aggressive about this. And I'm concerned about how aggressive our revenue departments are going to be with regard to these people. I'm not suggesting they're all illegal. I know there are people on that list who possibly can't be illegal. If they are, they're utterly insane, because they're hugely important business people in this country who I must assume took an amnesty or the money is legally outside the country. But I'll tell you this, when you see a 160 million rand account, which is owned on behalf of South Africans by a Panamanian lawyer, you can take poison on the fact that that is illegally, that hasn't been disclosed. Right. So the question is, I'm curious about that. I'm curious about whether in fact our government is going to be serious about the vast sums of money that are outside of the country